Welcome to the program, folks. October the 18th, you're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Lester's Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers, 6 supplements in 1 capsule. This, of course, supports joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health, Auckland.
Duncan Garner, live.
Evening, everybody. Nice to have you company. I'm Duncan Garner. Tonight, historian Richard Wolff and his new book, The Curious Case of the Kiwi. Well, it's actually called Kiwi, The Curious Case of this thing. It's our national symbol. It's our national bird. It's the flightless bird. What do we know about it? What do we know about its history? Why is it used in so many things? Corporates use it. They just pinch the name, and no one's protecting the brand, are they? When did we first see it as our national bird? Have we looked after it, or have we used and abused it? There was a horse called Kiwi. Shoe polish called Kiwi. It's a symbol of peace on the battlefield. It's on the side of our soldiers, isn't it? It's on the side of the soldiers' arms. Yet we have also adopted the name for ourselves. It's odd, isn't it? We're Kiwis. Well, we're flightless birds. But it's become entrenched, you see. Richard, nice to have you. Kia ora, good evening.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So where did the inspiration come from? A Curious Case of National Identity, Kiwi. Great book, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Where did the Kiwi come from? What do we know about its early introduction?
Well, yes, it's lost in the mists of time somewhat, but New Zealand separated from Gondwanaland about 80 or 90 million years ago, and we broke away from the rest of them before mammals had appeared on Earth. So we've got no terrestrial mammals. No. And we also, birds came perhaps with that separation, or maybe the ancestral Kiwi flew, but with no mammals or predators around, it didn't need to fly, so it lost its wings.
So we think it had wings initially.
Yeah, well, it's got vestigial wings, very tiny little things.
Yeah.
You can see it's sort of evolution in reverse. These things have just disappeared. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, I was going to say use it or lose it, and this is critical. So then over time, it's not being hunted by any predator until it decides that
two-legged humans.
Yeah, two-legged humans and the possum. So the two-legged human brings in the possum.
Yep.
And then everything changes. So what do we know about? So we know the very early stages of the Kiwi. Who first identified it was a Kiwi? Who first identified this in New Zealand?
Well, early skins were sort of taken to Europe and confounded the experts because they couldn't believe, they sort of mounted their bird as best they could. I mean, you couldn't take sort of dead specimens in those days. There was no refrigeration. By the time it got to Europe, you wouldn't want to go near them.
Yes. But the feathers were really well sought after.
Yeah, and the feathers were certainly sought after by the Maori people, of course.
Yes.
Have prestigious cloaks. But yeah, the scientists of Britain got to know the Kiwi and very interested in it, and of course its larger cousin, the moa, in the 1830s.
And so we know that they were they hunted? Kiwi were hunted, were they?
Not really, because I understand they don't taste that good, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But they were certainly the feathers were used. But the bird was known as the sort of hidden bird of Tane,
right.
God of the forest, by virtue of the fact that they weren't that obvious. They sleep during the daytime and sort of. Do
their business at night
and come out at night. Yeah,
were they always nocturnal? I
guess so.
Yeah. That's a belief, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with the moa, we hunted the moa and that became extinct. But we didn't hunt the Kiwi because it didn't taste good. But did we hunt it for feathers? Did the early Māori hunt it for feathers?
There might have been a bit of that, but obviously not that much because the bird survived as opposed to the moa.
And then it became part of popular culture. It started to become part of popular culture. So when is the first indication that the Kiwi was being used for all sorts of other things? Like there was a shoe polish, wasn't there?
Yeah, well that came early 1900s, but by the late 19th century, business people and sports teams were looking for names and celebrating local sort of points of difference, so local flora and fauna, so birds and the moa and the fir, tree fern, panga, kauri and all that sort of thing, and the kiwi and the huia and the tui, they were all there. But eventually, of course, the kiwi sort of took over and became the most popular one.
And who decided it was a national bird? Did we?
Well, the interesting thing, and I think the good thing, is that it's not an official national bird. It's got there by virtue of being the bird of the people that the populace have decided.
So because it's people's choice. It's because it's been crowned because it doesn't have any protection agency, does it? does
Well,
it?
there are programs and campaigns to preserve it from time to time, and
Yes.
a certain amount of conservation money goes into those.
Yes.
But the bird is not an official symbol. I mean, the Southern Cross is on our flag, and the silver fern is on the national coat of arms. But
Yes.
the kiwi, I mean, while it's on coats of arms of say the Auckland City and the Auckland University and various other
Yes.
authorities around the country, it is not an official national symbol.
Yeah, although, and I agree with you, it's not official, but almost unofficially it's become the symbol.
yes,
and it is actually.
Yeah.
When I've been overseas
Yeah.
watching All Black games or watching any other sport or in war zones in Afghanistan, all the
Yes.
defence forces, they're on their arm is the image of the Kiwi.
Yeah.
That in many ways says don't shoot, we're the good guys. And then that's the Kiwis used in many ways to protect us.
Yes, yeah.
No one asked it. No, no one sought permission. It's
No,
it's weird,
it's just
isn't it?
happening. Well, that's sort of come from the ground up, as it were, hasn't it? Yeah, it's just slowly and surely. But as you mentioned, the boot polish was a major factor in
Yes.
promoting the Kiwi as an image representative of New Zealand, and that
Strange
happened
thing,
during
isn't
the
it?
First
The
World
Kiwi
War.
boot polish.
Yeah.
I mean, would the Kiwi approve of being on the little silver tin?
Well, the irony in that story, of course, it was Kiwi boot polish was originally an Australian product invented in Melbourne by an Australian, and he was looking around for a name for his new product. And his wife was born, I think, in Oamaru. So
yes,
he honoured her homeland, and he wanted a short, memorable name with an associated image that would fit on a round tin, and so he alighted on Kiwi, and it was history.
That's amazing. And then it took off, you see, across popular culture and Kiwiana and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we've got, is there any agency that sort of monetises this on behalf of the Kiwi? I mean, does money go back into the Kiwi? Because you can do Kiwi bacon,
Yeah.
Kiwi Bank.
Well, BNZ was a great supporter of the Kiwi in the 19th century as using the image, and I think they've been supporting the Kiwi conservation program.
They put money
at
into
some
that,
point.
yeah.
They were a major force behind that.
Yeah, but people can people just willy nilly and when it comes to Māori tonga and stuff like that, you go and use something out of context of a particular iwi, and you'll cop it.
Yeah,
and
sure.
rightly so.
Yeah.
But the Kiwi doesn't seem to have.
No, I think it's sort of out there, and it's I mean, the very fact that there's such a plethora of images and usages of it, from sports teams to products, all manner of things, suggests that it is
A horse. There's the horse. There's
a
a race
horse,
horse
yeah.
called Kiwi.
Melbourne Cup winner.
Yeah. Have we treated it badly?
Well, we've certainly taken liberties with the bird. I mean, it wouldn't be too pleased to have have its name given to cigarette lighters or matches and vapes and things.
Yes.
It has been associated with some pretty.
It has been bastardised in many ways, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
that's the word, but I mean, I couldn't think of a better one there, and maybe it suits it, because if it's associated with the vape. It's very different to being associated, Kiwi with something holistic and good,
Yeah, but then again, I guess the Kiwi must have thought, to be associated with bacon, that's getting a bit close to the bone, as it were, isn't it?
Well, that's the slaughter of pigs. If we want to, it depends where, which is an animal.
Yeah.
I wonder, do New Zealanders, the New Zealanders started calling ourselves Kiwis?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Well, I think that was a result of the proliferation of the Kiwi boot polish tin on the battlefields of Europe during
Right.
the First World War, and the association was made between the bird on the tin lid,
Yes.
the Kiwi, and the New Zealand soldiers. So by the time soldiers came back, a lot of them were happy to be known as Kiwis, and also, I mean, at that stage there was it was a bit of debate going on as to what we would call ourselves, and
Well, we were a
and
colony, weren't we? We were very much still a British colony in those.
That's right. And like Australians, the New Zealand soldiers were known as diggers. So the point of the good thing about calling the New Zealand soldiers Kiwi was it separated them from Australians, gave
Yes.
them an identity of their own.
And I've been to Gallipoli. I've been to Gallipoli twice now. I've been really lucky. And I've spoken to Turkish people as I walk around Anzac Cove and through up into Charnock Bay and everything. And a number of Turks said to me, "Are you Kiwi?"
Right.
So it has travelled.
Yes.
And the Japanese as well, when we play rugby in Japan, they're, "Are you Kiwi?"
Yeah.
It's very much, I think, an international term now too, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's everywhere. I mean, one of the interesting things is in 1955, when Turners and Growers, the local produce people, renamed the Chinese gooseberry Kiwi fruit. And I don't know whether it was oversight or whatever, but they forgot to patent the name or trademark it.
Yes.
So anyone can use the term. And so overseas growers who've got hold of vines grow it and can market it in their country as kiwi fruit.
Did we missed a trick there, didn't we?
Well, I suppose we did in a way, but the other thing is that the fruit all over the world is known as kiwi fruit.
Yes.
So it keeps the profile of the bird up there.
Yeah, it does, and it keeps maybe the profile of the country up there too.
Absolutely.
But is this something we need to become famous or want to become famous for? What do we want to be known for overseas? Kiwi fruit? Is that our best export?
Well, it's certainly a good one.
It is.
But I mean, it's great for the bird and
Yes.
to be associated with that. Yeah.
And then we've gone to Bird of the Year. I know, Forest and Bird, and I'm really interested in that because I do enjoy the outdoors, and
Yes.
I love to see what birds are getting support, and internationally that's gone big as well. But does Kiwi win the Bird of the Year? I mean, I haven't seen it in recent years.
No, it's probably
Interesting. It is our Bird of the Year every year,
No,
isn't it? Yeah.
I think it might have been Bird of the Century or something, mightn't it?
Would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd have to. Yeah, you'd think so.
And so the relative is a moa.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're all ratites,
Yes.
which are, flightless birds, along with the emu, the cassowary and the ostrich.
Yes.
The kiwi being the smallest of the...
How many flightless birds are there in New Zealand then? Do we have
there are, how many species of kiwi? There are 5 or 6, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
and they're quite different. There's different species.
Yeah, they do.
what ways?
Geographically vary. The
Yeah.
North Island and the South Island, the Rakiura or the Stewart Island.
Where are the most kiwis? Where are they?
Well, it's probably a bit hard to do a census of kiwis by virtue of the fact that they're hard to find.
Yeah.
But I imagine Westland or something like that is probably
Forest areas and wetland and that sort of
absolutely.
thing.
Where
I
humans,
saw one recently. I told you about that before we came on air, but I saw one recently, which was really exciting and it left a real impression with me for a number of weeks and months. And I tell everyone I possibly can in the Waipua Forest up north. It was in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night.
Great.
Just having a poke around. They've got nostrils at the end of their beak.
That's right. Yeah, they're absolutely unique in several respects. Being flightless and nocturnal is odd enough, but they've got, yes, as you say, nostrils at the end of the beak. So I don't think there are any other birds like that. And of course, the other distinguishing feature is the size of the egg that the female lays, which must be it is larger in proportion to the body size or body weight than any other bird. So laying an egg must be a pretty eye-watering experience for the female.
Eyes on stalks, maybe. Do they have? What's their reproduction like? Is it difficult?
I don't think the brood is very great. I think 1 or 2 is probably eggs that size. You wouldn't want to be doing it.
Do we have an estimate of the population, kiwi?
I think there might be 100,000 or so out there. Yeah.
So is that deemed? See, that's not deemed as it's not deemed as overly safe, is it?
No. I mean, as we mentioned before, there are pockets of populations that are holding and certainly growing and being looked after, but there's no room for complacency. I mean, you just need a feral predator or pest. And the other thing, of course, is their habitat. I mean, we're constantly sort of eroding their natural habitat.
We take it over. I mean, you look at the spread of, and this is another thing too, the cities, I worry about the size of our cities.
Yep.
Well, they said we're going to go up, but we continue to take land and go out.
Yes.
And that just, you look at a place like Japan where it goes from city to city to city. I worry that we're still pretty unpopulated, really. We're quite lucky, but let's keep that way. But our cities are spreading, especially places like Auckland, and we're losing good. You look at the just northeast of Auckland and that area there. It's all becoming developed, and there's wetlands and forest and all that sort of thing in there that's going, and that's a real concern, isn't it?
It is, and of course there's climate change too, which may have an impact on.
Do we know what the impact of that might be?
It's I mean, the last week or two we've seen one of the impacts has been increasing, hurricanes and
we've seen
storms
that,
and things,
extreme events.
Yeah.
Is it a smart bird?
Well,
it's a tough question, isn't it?
A bit hard to evaluate.
Yeah.
Well, it's got things sorted out. It sleeps, during the daytime and just gets out at night and finds what it needs.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was smart enough in the early days very early days to realise that, so flying uses a lot of energy. So in the interest of conservation of energy, it decided, well, I don't need to fly. There's plenty of food on the ground. So
it might have been just got so complacent because of that, right?
Yeah.
So it became complacent, and then what was the biggest threat was the arrival of the European.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Because we bought in, what did we bring in? We bought in all sorts of threats.
Cats and stoats and weasels and ferrets.
Wild cats,
and, Yeah, wild cats and dogs, of course. Yeah, so...
They estimate that the wild cat population, I looked at this recently, feral cats, about 1 million.
In New Zealand. Oh, that's frightening, isn't it?
So that was that. Department of Conservation and Forest and Bird gave me that number, 1 million. They said at its very worst, it could be 4, but it's probably likely to be 1.
Ooh.
I know, and so we don't. And the rats will be, will be. Who don't want to. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, there were rats here originally, but the Norwegian ship rat came, and they were another problem. And
was the
possums,
coyote? Was it a native rat? Was it?
Yes.
And do they attack kiwi?
I don't think so much. No. It's the Norwegian one, and but the possum, of course, is a big threat. Not only to the bird itself, but to the forests. Nibbling away at the shoots.
And so the best thing New Zealanders can do. I mean, we treasure. I think we treasure the kiwi. I think there's
Absolutely.
no doubt about that. And the book is such a good book, highlighting. The influence of it, and the more you read your book, as each page turns, the more you realise, oh my goodness, the kiwi is so intertwined in our life.
Yeah.
But I think we take it for granted. We're Kiwis and we stop there. But this thing, you just realise how intertwined it is with commerce, conservation, a war, climate, the whole thing. It's bloody surprising, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but by the time I'd finished the book, I came to the realisation that I don't think there's ever been a country or culture that is so indebted to a bird, an animal, to the extent that we have in terms of taking its name and its image for commercial use, for sports teams, all manner of things.
Look at the Aussies, they got the kangaroo, haven't they?
Yeah, but they're not known as kangaroos.
No, their rugby league team are the kangaroos.
Yeah, but they're
not. They're Aussies, right?
That's right. Yeah, so we are unique in that respect, I think, and so, I mean, the other thing that we talked about is the conservation. It would be terrible business if we allowed, if somehow the kiwi did become extinct, follow its large cousin, the moa, down the road to extinction. And then,
are they close to it? I mean, at 100,000?
Yeah, it's as I say, it's
not on the brink, is it? But
no, we've got to keep our mind on the job.
Well, I wonder about that. That we've used the kiwi for all our advantages.
Yes.
Right. But do we, for a moment, stop like we're doing now to think, like you've done, especially to think about it and to put it first, and to just have a moment in time where we actually donate to save the kiwi.
Yes.
We do something. Maybe New Zealanders, and I like the idea of New Zealanders take a volunteer day once a year to do something for a charity or whatever, and and we call it Kiwi Day, or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking out loud, but I've always thought that there should be something in our mindset like that. Like we have Matariki, but imagine Kiwi Volunteer Day, and you could donate and give your time to organisations that save the kiwi. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it sounds a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you see what do you see in the future? What's the next 100 years hold for the kiwi, do you think?
Well,
if you look at the last 100, it's been massive.
Certainly have. Yeah. Well, I'd like to see it more than hold its own and grow. And I mean, the population sort of expand, and the kiwi, I guess, in the same way that it adapted to living on the land, it's got to adjust somehow to the various threats that we have imposed on it.
Yeah, and of course there's been war, and there's growth in population, and there's growth of cities, as you say.
Yes.
I wonder, this bird has evolved before, though, with a bit of our help, but this bird is quite resilient, I think?
Yeah, I think so. It can hold its own. I mean, young kiwi are very vulnerable to ferrets and stoats and things, but, at a certain age, a year or two, they've got a pretty fierce beak on them.
Yeah, so they fight, do they? They fight, do they?
No, they are vicious. I mean, it's one of the things. I think the realisation that the kiwi could be a fighting bird is sort of enamored. That sort of increased its appeal with New Zealand soldiers. Who people might have said, "Well, what do you want to be associated with a strange-looking, the most unbird-like of birds?" But it can be quite aggressive
because it's been ridiculed at times, especially by the Aussies as well. Well, the kiwi, what is this? It's a flightless bird, and they say that's New Zealand's image. The bird that can't fly. Sort of, which we have an airline that does well, and we like to think of ourselves as pretty, industrial industrious and entrepreneurial and successful. Yet people ridicule us for that. The world either acknowledges us for this bird or they ridicule us. So maybe it's the Aussies that do it.
Yeah. No, I think I don't know. I think the bird's got a good profile out there. I mean, right from when it was discovered by European science, I mean, museums and zoos wanted specimens. You know.
Yeah, they wanted it. Yeah, because did we not export? What did we do recently? There was someone who tried to export one. To a zoo, was it?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, occasionally I think under special circumstances they're allowed out. They were years ago, but of course we realised that no, we haven't got enough to go around.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Oh, well, it's great catching up with you. It's a great book, and I've really enjoyed having a read of it.
Thank you.
It triggered in me how important this flightless bird is, and how we maybe need to be a little bit more patriotic towards it. Because of the way we've used it.
I think given the amount of what it's given us, that it needs a little bit more in return, possibly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, nice to meet you, and all
Thank
the very
you,
best. And I think it's a bloody good book. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, cheers. Right, that is us. Did you know, Isaac? There's so many. The kiwi comes in so many forms. You know, like the boot polish, for instance, kiwi boot polish. I'm not sure the kiwi would be that impressed, but no one can ask the kiwi. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite cool. I quite like the term Kiwis. I quite like being called a Kiwi.
Well, remember you do, yeah. And overseas they say, you know, when I was in Anzac Cove in Gallipoli, some Turks came up to me and said, "You Kiwi?" Mm-hmm. You know, am I a flightless bird? You know, and as we were just talking then, but the beak on the kiwi has the nostrils
on the end. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And apparently, it's quite a scrapper. Apparently, if you can,
apparently they're actually they hold
fight.
their own. Hold their own. Well, they have to. Like the thing is, because they can't fly, they're so easy to attack for predators.
Yeah, I know.
And so they would have had
fast,
to.
Apparently.
They would have had to develop all sorts of things to protect themselves.
And they've evolved, I suppose. I saw one recently in the Hokianga was going through, as I was saying, through the Waipoua forest right in front of me. I thought it was a possum, so I sped up. Oh, and because you get points for killing possums, but there's a big fat bum on it, and it just waddled off into the bush. It's the first time I've seen one in the wild. Anyway, that is us, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live with Lester's Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. About Health have a $500 Pro Health Pack giveaway running in October, with all orders going in the draw to win. Now you can use the code Duncan for 10% off. And you get an extra entry as well, abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health, Auckland, 0800 999 309. What's happening this weekend for you, Isaac? What are we doing? What are you doing? You got something going on? Anything? Any highlights? Is there highlights?
This weekend I'm going to the inaugural game for Auckland FC against Brisbane Roar. That's on Saturday. That's tomorrow.
Haven't they set this up really quick?
Yeah, it's kind of just happened.
Yeah. You're a fan of the footy, eh?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Oh, well, and they're playing in...
Oh, don't ask me that. Someone else got me the tickets.
Okay.
I'll be going, and so that'll be great.
They'll get a good crowd. I bet you that's full.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I reckon they'll get some real good stuff behind them.
How do you create a franchise? How do you create loyalty to a franchise just like that, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? I think, in fairness, I think the idea for an Auckland team in that league has been in the air for a while.
Well, we've had a few.
Yeah. And obviously, Wellington Phoenix have been around for ages. So
don't pinch what we do in Wellington where we take our shirts off and...
Yeah.
That's our thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can have that, mate. You can have that.
Oh, you don't want to do it? Hey, that's good luck and enjoy the weekend, mate. That's us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your support and your feedback. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac and Forrester, thank you guys. We'll do this again on Monday. Yep, lifestyle dress rehearsal, no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth. So enjoy this weekend. Get out and monster it. We'll catch you on Monday. Take care.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.